Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lords of the Night. With me, as always, your Lord of Pennies. Say hello, Satsu.
Stuttered there a little bit. Hello.
Also with me is your Lord of Punishment. Say hello, Scribe.
Well, hello, Ranting Pony.
Fuck you. And with us as well, your Lord of Pompousness. Say hi, Polly.
Hello.
I had to give you a new name because of, you know.
Well, to stick in with that, I believe it would be pomposity.
Pomposity.
I was going to say pomposity, but I didn't want to sound pompous. And I am your Lord of Pain. And oh, fuck, is it a pain day? But for good reason, guys.
Lord of
I'm the
Ponies.
Ranting Monkey.
Lord of Ponies.
I'm not Lord of Ponies.
Oh, okay.
Am I breaking up to you guys?
Nope.
No.
Okay, because you guys are breaking up to me, which that sucks.
I'd never break up with you, monkey.
I know you wouldn't. I'm a sexy beach.
You're a keeper.
Beach.
Maybe someone's trying to DDoS you.
Maybe I'm going through everything, making sure all my downloads are off, and they are. So anyway, guys, we didn't mean to talk about shitty internet connections to start this with. To start this with, I'd like to say thank you to Tall Person for the donation earlier. Who says, "I have to go to bed early for work. Just saying hi, good night, and donating to the insert current monkey fundraiser here." Thank you so much. Let's see. Tonight's fundraiser will be don't shoot up religious organizations.
Yay.
Is that too soon? Thank you, Three-Sided Coin. I have some good news. I found $5, but then I gave it to you, so not great, I guess. Terrible. Thank you, Three-Sided. And Jaeger Pony, I'm the Lord of Ponies, damn it. There you go. That's right. I am the Lord of Pain. And before we get into that, let's ask how you guys are doing. Let's start with Polly. How are you tonight?
Well, I'm doing pretty well, I guess, all things considered.
Satsu, how are you?
I am good. There's fried chicken being cooked, and I am happy about it.
That's racist.
It's also delicious.
All right. Fair enough.
And Scribbles, how you doing today?
I am full of pizza and have been binging Ozark Season 2, so I'm doing fine.
Nice.
How are you, monkey?
I'm in a shit ton of pain because Little Bud is here. And
Will she visit us?
What's that?
Will she visit us?
No, she didn't have a nap today, so she's already out, guys. Sorry. But she went trick-or-treating today. They had a Halloween in the park thing. And the moment she gets through the door, she looks at me and goes, "I got candy for us, Grandpa."
Oh.
Her mom had asked her, "Are you going to share that with me?" And she goes, "No, with Grandpa." She is really into Beauty and the Beast right now. That she's Belle for Halloween, and she insisted that we used to dance all the time together, but she wanted to dance tonight. And I was already in a little bit of pain, but she wanted to dance like Belle and Beast do. So I actually picked her up, and we had her arm out, and she had her arm around on my shoulder, and we danced way too long like that. So I'm in pain, but it was worth it.
No.
Because she's my sweetheart.
No.
Before I forget, because you know I will, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Smash that like button, guys, and share our stuff. Speaking of which, I need to add Polly's channel link, that's what it is, into the description. I will get it there, guys, and I'll tell you when you can refresh to get there. You can also just look up Polydub on YouTube to get there, and you really should check out his stuff. He does, do we call it comic curation?
Comic book curation, yeah, that's what I call it. I mean, that's probably a little high-flown of a name. I'm not really curating anything in the sense of a museum, but we're the lore. We're curating the lore.
There you go.
Yes. And especially movies tonight, huh? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Also tonight, guys, after this, we will be playing Dead Island. It's kind of a filler that we're using for the next few streams until we get until 76, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. Anyway, but if you come watch us on 2 Cents Plus tonight, we will be giving away a copy of 7 Days to Die for the PC. If you're interested in that, make sure you follow us over to 2 Cents Plus after this stream. Anybody have anything else?
Did you finally get your preload for 76 done?
Done? No.
Oh, I don't know.
No. Let's see. I have 18 gigs out of the 47 needed. So
Jesus.
and that was doing all night last night. Thank you, Mashishu. Monkey and Satsu, how do you feel about how Sir Sick, after canceling his pre-order, got Red Dead 2 the same day it was released on Amazon Prime with all the pre-order goodies for cheaper than you guys? I guarantee you he's not getting it cheaper than me.
Remind me, Monkey. I know you said it, but I forgot. What's up with you in Red Dead 2? You got a free PS4 plus Red Dead 2 or Red Dead 1?
Yes. A viewer is sending me a PS4 and Red Dead.
Ah, you bastard.
He bought.
I say that affectionately, but you bastard.
No.
Like it.
He bought a PlayStation 4. What is it? Pro, I think is what they call the new one.
Mm-hmm.
And he was getting that with the Red Dead bundle, which comes with the base game, just the regular game. But being a fan of Red Dead, he also wants the collector's edition, so he had to buy the collector's edition game separately, which leaves him with a extra PS4 and an extra game. And he was nice enough to send it to me. So
that's awesome.
That is. I've said this many times. We have the best fans on the internet, bar none. And it's things like that, and just the fact that they show up every night. I thank you guys. I know I thank you at the end of the show. Best audience. And with that, Scribbles. I don't want to do it, but you got some news?
Yep. Another day, another horrific thing happened. And it's even more horrific, not surprisingly, since at first we kind of broke the news as it was coming out this morning on your morning show. And now it has, it ended thereabouts, but here's the latest. Here's what we know so far about Robert Bowers, the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting suspect. This is CNN's headline right now. Well, in short, for those who are just joining us, as of this broadcast, this man walked into a Jewish synagogue or the grounds thereof this morning. He has killed 11 people, wounded several others, including at least 3 police officers. He surrendered and was captured unharmed, so far as I know. And this is the information that CNN has gathered about this individual to this point. As officials try to put together a picture of the alleged Pittsburgh synagogue shooter, one focus of the investigation is his social media postings. Here's what we know so far about suspect Robert Bowers, 46. 1. He allegedly made anti-Semitic statements after his arrest. The shooter made anti-Jewish comments after he was apprehended, a law enforcement official told CNN. The bloodshed took place on the same day as Saturday Shabbat services. At the time of the shooting, 3 different congregations were holding services at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Number 2, he was in the synagogue for about 20 minutes. Excuse me. At a Saturday afternoon news conference, officials said the suspect was in the Squirrel Hill Synagogue for about 20 minutes after the attack. 20 minutes, period. After the attack and as he was leaving the building, Bowers encountered a law enforcement officer and the 2 exchanged gunfire. The suspect went back inside to hide from SWAT officers. Bowers was in fair condition Saturday evening with multiple gunshot wounds. Oh, I thought he surrendered peacefully, but he got
they shot him? Damn.
It's believed he was shot by police. Okay. They shot him, but he's alive. For now, I guess. Let's see. Number 3, sorry. He was not known to law enforcement. Quote, at this point, we have no knowledge that Bowers was known to law enforcement before today, said Bob Jones, FBI Pittsburgh special agent in charge. Jones said that while Bowers' alleged motive is unknown, officials believe he acted alone. 5, he has an active license to carry firearms. Bowers has an active license and has made at least 6 known firearm purchases since 1996. A law enforcement official familiar with the investigation said. On September 29th, Bowers posted photos of his handgun collection on his Gab.com account, which included multiple clips and sites. Well, magazines, but I'm just being technical. There was an issue of The Punisher where somebody said, hand me a clip, and Punisher looks at him and says, it's a magazine. Shit, sorry. A rifle and 3 handguns were found on the scene of the attack. Let's see. 5 or 6, whatever point I'm on. They don't number them. I'm just numbering them. He blamed Jews for helping migrant caravans. On his Gab.com account, Bowers claimed Jews were helping transport members of the migrant caravans. He shared a video that another Gab.com user posted, purportedly of a Jewish refugee advocacy group, HIAS, I don't know what that is, on the U.S.-Mexico border. Another post that Bowers commented on described HIAS's overall effort as sugar-coated evil.
Sorry to cut you off, but just as a quick side note, because I was curious myself, it's an American nonprofit organization that provides humanitarian aid and assistance to refugees.
Okay.
Okay.
17 days before the attack, Bowers posted a webpage from HIAS that listed a number of Shabbats that were being held on behalf of refugees. On that list was a Shabbat address that is less than a mile away from the Tree of Life Synagogue. Let's see, nextly, he called those in migrant caravans invaders. According to his post, Bowers believed that those in the migrant caravans were violent because they were attempting to leave countries that had high levels of violence. And Bowers repeatedly called them invaders in his Gab posts. Quote, "I have noticed a change in people saying illegals that now say invaders," read one post 6 days before the shooting. "I like this," unquote. A law enforcement source confirmed to CNN that investigators believe the social media postings belong to Bowers and that the language in his account matches the suspected motivation behind the shootings. Let's see, next. His most recent post was 5 minutes before police were alerted to the shooting. In that Gab post, Bowers said he, quote, "can't sit by and watch my people get slaughtered. Screw your optics. I'm going in," unquote. Jesus.
His people, what people?
I don't know. Next, his Gab account has frequent anti-Semitic postings. He has reposted a number of posts on his social media accounts that tell Jews to get out or leave. I think that's kind of the same thing. Gab is a social media platform that advocates for free speech and puts nearly no restrictions on content. Now we get a parentheses. In a statement posted online, Gab says it, quote, "unequivocally disavows and condemns all acts of terrorism and violence. Gab's mission is very simple: to defend free expression and individual liberty online for all people," unquote. Gab said it was alerted to the suspect's profile on their platform, backed up the data, suspended the account, and contacted the FBI. Okay. Next, his posts included criticism of President Trump. Among the many anti-Semitic social media posts were comments suggesting that President Trump was surrounded by too many Jewish people. Quote, "Trump is surrounded by the K word. Things will stay the course," read one post on the Gab social media platform, which used a derogatory term to describe Jews. Another post, apparently intended as an insult, read, "Trump is a globalist, not a nationalist." Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Next, he said he didn't vote for Trump. Roughly 4 hours before the shooting, Bowers commented in a post that he did not vote for Trump. Okay. Next, he received a traffic citation in 2015. Okay.
That seems relevant.
Yeah, for driving without tags. Okay. And lastly, he's expected to face hate crime charges. No shit. But anyway.
You think?
So that's the latest and greatest on that. Now, I don't have it in front of me, but on the radio earlier, just a few minutes ago, I heard about two of the victims that are still in the hospital. One was a 61-year-old woman who was shot at least once, but it was unfortunately only a flesh wound. And then there was a 71-year-old man that had been apparently shot several times in the chest, but was still hanging on. So fingers crossed that guy makes it through okay, and everybody else involved.
I have no problem with people calling the caravan invaders. I don't. This whole notion that Jews are trying, I've heard this from the alt-righters. The Jews are out there trying to get everybody to invade white lands. That's moronic. Stop it. And if you're one of these guys and you're worried about the Jews, taking your people, instead of shooting the Jews, just shoot yourself and do us all a favor, because you're a moron.
I've seen discussed all over Twitter today is how is this? What do you mean unknown to law enforcement saying the things that he said? And it's like, right. Law enforcement and intelligence services are supposed to track people that are saying bad things about Jews online.
Good luck. Yeah. Man, I hate that story. I really do. And I hope the ones that are hanging in there hang in there. I really do. God,
And a bunch of people have made the point, like on Shabbat too, on the Sabbath, you're going to go in there on a Saturday blasting. That's just, God, man.
I don't have much. I have nothing good to say about this man, and very little good to say about the people who spew the rhetoric that he does. I did see that Gab lost their, was it Patreon or no, PayPal abilities today over this.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They didn't come out and specifically say it, I believe. It just comes, they came out and told him that they were pulling their ability to use it because they have the right to do that at any time.
So somebody did something on their platform. They found it, acknowledged it, reported it to the FBI, and that is punishable.
Well, there's a lot of people who don't like Gab because Gab is an open platform and they try not to censor anything.
Well, I get that, but
yeah, there's a lot of people that have been trying to shut down Gab because a lot of the people have been kicked off all other platforms. That's their home now. And there's people out there like, you shouldn't let them talk. I'm like,
well, I said something. I put up a post on Twitter earlier, and I was like, with as much as you guys seem to hate the freedoms that you are afforded in the United States, you would think that somebody who you assume to be a person who literally strips away people's freedoms and takes them all away would be your hero. Like, Trump should be your fucking hero. You should be singing his praises if he is indeed doing the things that you say he's doing, because you hate your rights. You don't want them, and you want them gone. And Trump seems to be the person you think's going to take them. So why aren't you happy?
Here's my problem with all of this is that this means that I'm going to have free speech fights. I don't have to, but it's what I do with a bunch of morons who think talking is what caused this guy to kill people. It's not. He's a fucking lunatic. That's what caused him to shoot people. Speech is not the problem, people. I have nothing else to say about this shit. You guys are free to. I'm done.
Well, I mean, we could talk about what an obvious scumbag this guy is, and like coming down on religious folks on their day. You know, yeah, we could virtue signal about it, I guess. Might I pose an item for discussion around it that could be interesting? People, they talk about they don't want to mention the guy's name for sake of the obvious of encouraging it. There's a psychologists have established that there is a direct connection between the fame, the infamy rather, that comes around it, school shooters and so forth, that they idolize previous school shooters, and so it's related to the fame. His name was just mentioned on this broadcast. Now, I'm not trying to say that that's a bad thing. My question is that a lost cause to not mention the person's name?
Yes,
because does it not seem that way? Like it seems like let's let these people die in anonymity, you know, because what they want is fame and recognition for what they did. They want their message out there through the horrificness and the brutality of their act. Okay, but people instantly want to know who it is because we live in the current year of identity politics, and people want to know, was it an Arab that did the shooting? Because a lot of people right away, that was their first thing, right? Maybe it was a Muzzy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, maybe it was one of them alt-righters, and they want to know. So they're going to seek it out, and they're going to find it out, even if Shapiro and CNN decide not to mention the person's name.
So are you asking, is the effort to do so a lost cause? Because if that's the question, then yes, it is.
so then so I guess then the question is, what's the point? You see what I mean? Like it's like, why don't we just mention the guy's name? Well, now we're feeding into it. But if and I agree with you, Satsu, it is a lost cause. So then what's the point? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean?
What's the point of standing by any principle, even if other people don't?
Yeah, I mean, it's a point of perspective. It depends. If you have the kind of Medicare view where it's just like, no, you put his name out there and you fucking ridicule the shit out of him and make everybody think that he's a fucking joke. You know, so that way, not only will he be remembered, but he'd be remembered as the pathetic piece of shit that he is. Or, you know, there are some people who believe that keeping their name, you know, private and not mentioning that or whatever, it takes away the power, you know, that they wanted to gain from that that notoriety. You know what I mean? So other people can see that person and know who they are and recognize them and be, I guess, roused by it. So, I mean, it's all a matter of perspective. I don't think any of it actually matters in the long run. But
no, because crazy people are going to do crazy things.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So.
Okay, what's the point in standing by any principle? That's a valid point here. I'm going to do it because it's worth doing intrinsically. I hear you, Scribe. That makes sense. Now, but Satsu brings up Medicare's point. Okay, you think Medicare's going to be making fun of this guy? Sheckelstein and every other fucking thing that he does all over. I mean, the guy that wanted to, I forget, the guy went to the grocery shop and shotgunned, 2-3 people.
Randy Stair.
Okay, his backstory was ridiculous and ripe for someone like Medicare to make fun of because he was making fun of fur fags and everybody else. Is he going to make fun of this guy for blasting on Jews when we already know Medicare's opinion on Jews?
I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see.
I don't know.
I don't think Jim supports murder of these guys, but it's. I mean, I would assume that he doesn't.
Maybe he'll talk about it on the Sunday Fun stream tomorrow. I don't know.
It depends on if he can make it hilarious or not. I mean, if it's not going to be funny, then why do it?
I don't know.
Because that's his currency.
Well, I got a couple more stories to cover here.
Sure.
So.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Let's move on.
Let's see. So in
Real fast.
Yeah.
Gregory Hurst, thank you. Start a rumor the shooter pretends to be a pony. Fuck you, Gregory.
That'll be internet fuckatry news, but
We'll get to that later.
Let's see. You guys like Campbell's soup?
Some of it.
Well, Campbell's Soup vice president who tweeted Soros conspiracy is out. The Campbell's Soup lobbyist who said George Soros's foundation was assisting a caravan of migrants bound for the United States is no longer with the company. Kelly Johnston, formerly Campbell's vice president of government affairs, tweeted on Monday that the Open Society Foundations arranged for, quote, troop carriers and rail cars to support the caravan, which formed earlier this month in Central America. Johnston has since deleted his Twitter account. Campbell and Johnston had discussed his leaving over the summer, the company said on Saturday. Johnston was scheduled to leave in November, but the tweet sped up his exit. Okay. Well, there you go, I guess. Ta-da! I thought it was more to the story than that, but, somebody says something on Twitter, they get fired. That's kind of how it goes these days. Are you guys there?
I'm here.
Okay, you guys are so quiet. I was just like, did I get cut off?
I have nothing to add to that one.
Yeah, I thought there was something more to the story, but there really isn't.
Yeah,
it's just I'm reading chat and responding to it, so instead of typing it out, it's like Net Rumi. Sorry if I butchered your name there. Did Polly just accuse Jim of being an anti-Semite because he makes jokes? No, not even close. That's not what I'm saying. My point is that there's certain people that are ripe to be made fun of, like Randy Stair, like that guy, Jesus Christ, yeah. And then there's other people like this guy is there really a lot that you can make fun of? So can you discourage shooters from being crazy by mocking them? Well, only if they're mockable. And this guy, I hear Monkey's opinion on this. It's like, what's to say about it? It's just sad. So you can't discourage it. And so what I'm saying, Jim's method is not applicable here because what's to make fun of, unfortunately. That's my only point.
All right. So I've got, I wanted to end with two different op-ed deals that jumped out at me. Because
tell me one of them Saliza, because I need a joke.
No, there's no Saliza, unfortunately.
Damn.
I've got, unfortunately not today, but just sort of the headlines in the first paragraphs kind of got me. The first one is, the caravan is already here. And I was like, did I miss something? But then I read the first paragraph. It turns out that the caravan Americans should be worried about is already here. It is the white van that the alleged attempted mail bomber Cesar Sayoc was driving. And I'm like, what? And then I read on. Fortunately, federal authorities were able to arrest and charge him with sending explosive devices to the homes and offices of many of President Donald Trump's opponents, to 2 former presidents and to 2 former intelligence officials. And I don't understand what he's talking about. It's like the caravan is here. The van is the caravan.
I'm reminded of earlier because all I can think is, what?
Although it will probably take some time before the FBI can prove whether Sayoc was guilty. Well,
what?
Okay. And whether, I mean, the DNA and the fingerprints wasn't enough for you, but yeah, it's true. But on a legal level, sure, he hasn't been proven guilty yet, by justice standards. But I think if they've got DNA and fingerprints, they're halfway there, if not more. Although it will take some time before the FBI can prove whether Sayoc was guilty and whether he acted alone, the arrest is a troubling reminder of the ways in which the president's toxic political ideas have become sources of inspiration for extremist individuals and organizations, even those who want to commit violence.
No.
With all the attention that the president has devoted in the past few weeks to the allegedly dangerous people who are a part of the movement of immigrants seeking safety within our borders, a real concern for the country should be the potential for violent domestic political extremism to flare among people who live here and who perceive themselves to have an ally in the White House. Yeah, because there was no domestic terrorism during Obama's tenure.
Yeah.
At all. There wasn't, No one tried to do anything for, I mean, let's see, what was it, 93? Do I remember something happening at the World Trade Center in 93? Clinton was president. Do I remember this?
No, man, that's all in your head. You read that on the internet. It was probably an internet lie.
God, Now, there's not much to talk about this one because it's like this guy's
He's a moron.
He's using the caravan to piggyback his, bullshit. But here's the one that I just need to read the headline, and this made me laugh literally. I mean, literally laugh out loud. So this is from Peter Bergen, the CNN national security analyst, and here's the headline: Yes, there is such a thing as right-wing terrorism.
Thanks.
And I'm like, whoa, you mean like 9/11? You mean like Islamic terror? There's such a thing as right-wing terror? What?
Oklahoma City? I would have thought that was far left.
I mean, most terrorism comes from right-wing extremists a lot of the time. I mean, you could classify some things that like Antifa does, but if you're talking about like the big, marquee level events, it's usually influenced by what we would classify as right-wing beliefs. So what are you trying to tell us, Peter Bergen? A common trope on the right is that the suspected bomb sent to Democratic Party leaders, CNN, and...
It wasn't sent to CNN, you fucking lying douchebags.
And critics of President Donald Trump couldn't have been sent by a right-wing terrorist. On his radio show, Rush Limbaugh asserted, quote, "Republicans just don't do this kind of thing," unquote. Well, he didn't vote for Trump. Or wait, no, I'm thinking about the shooter today. Sorry, the other guy's a Trump supporter. Sorry, I got my terrorists confused for a moment. I apologize. Prominent conservative commentator Ann Coulter tweeted to her more than 2 million followers, quote, "From the Haymarket riot to the Unabomber, bombs are a liberal tactic."
Ann Coulter has 2 million followers? Jesus.
I guess so. Fox Business News anchor Lou Dobbs, in a since-deleted tweet, claimed that the devices were, quote, "fake news, fake bombs. Who could possibly benefit by so much fakery?" And CNN wasn't making some assumptions of their own. Like Chris Eliza was like, "I'm going to debunk it." You guys didn't even know. And people, for fuck's sake. Anyway, of course, we don't yet know the exact motivation of the person responsible for the mail bombs. So why are you making... If you don't know the motivation, and like I say, all signs are pointing to, yeah, he was some nut job, insane person who thought that Trump was God or something. But that aside, if you don't know the motivation, how are you being so certain with your declaration that it was one thing or the other?
Because they don't know, but damn it, they know.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of that going around right now. A lot of it.
His next paragraph. Recall first that the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing was, at the time, the most lethal act of terrorism ever on U.S. soil. Yeah. Indeed, since 9/11 terrorists motivated by far-right... What? You're listing off all the reasons why nothing of you said in your headline makes any fucking sense. Like, no, really? Right-wing terrorism exists? Okay, and his closing paragraph, I'm skipping a bunch of stuff here. We simply don't know yet who is responsible for this series of pipe bomb packages or why they sent them. When did you write this?
Must have been before they caught him.
Yeah, this is yesterday at 9:50 a.m. Okay.
So this was like literally right before they caught him.
Yeah, this is like an hour or two before they caught the guy.
An hour, because I went live at like I think 10:20 and we broke it right then. So half an hour. Should have waited, dummy.
It's like leftist terrorists have not killed anyone during this period in the United States, though an anti-Trump fanatic shot and gravely wounded Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana last year. So because
they're not good at it, that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, because
the Scalise thing, it's what was his point about that? I kind of lost it.
They did shoot somebody. That's the thing. We shot somebody.
Yeah, so he lists off a series of terrorist events from like 1995, Oklahoma City, 9/11,
right,
and then up to now, and he says in that period, leftist terrorists have not killed anyone during that period. I'm like. So the only
what is he keeping a fucking scorecard?
I know. Without a body count, there are no such things as leftist terrorists. And you need to tell anyone in this country who has lived any longer than say 20 years that there's such a thing as right-wing terrorism. Like we don't believe it or something.
Who's the intended audience for this?
Well, he's trying to counter the people who are saying this was a false flag. He's trying to counter. Right. He's trying to counter Fox News, and these guys says it was a false flag. And the immediate jump to false flag or not or anything else is no different than somebody saying, "Oh, the guy who shot up the synagogue must be a Muslim or something." It's just a bunch of speculative bullshit because nobody knows anything, and everybody's trying to make some kind of game points out of this for their political ideologies. But at the same time, you're talking to us like fucking children. I hate that shit. Anyway.
Well, they need to stop with this whole scorecard bullshit, first of all.
Yes.
We have seen, just because they're not good at it, we have seen leftists try to harm people. And they're not just trying to hurt them, they're trying to kill them. They just suck at it.
We bring up the Weather Underground? I mean, fuck.
This is since 1995.
Well, no, the Weather Underground never killed anybody.
No,
they never did. Not them.
They never did, but it was the bomb that they planted in the police station in Chicago. They didn't call that one in to say, get the hell out of there.
True.
It just didn't go off. So you're right. They didn't kill anybody, but it wasn't for lack of trying.
So they don't actually exist, Polly.
Touche.
I mean, without leaving a trail of blood, you can't really tell. If a bomb goes off and nobody dies, did it really go off?
That's very zen, man. Well done.
I know, right?
My only point is to further the point you're making. This guy in his scorecard of there is such a thing as right-wing terrorism. No shit, and there is such a thing as left-wing terrorism. Who are you telling this to?
I don't know.
Anyway,
that's all I have.
Extremists gonna extreme. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody have any other stories?
Nope.
That sounds like a no to me. Everyone, if there's a story you'd like us to read and hopefully one that'll make us laugh, hit us up at the hashtag MSS News over on the Twitter machine. We can't get to all your stories, but that's just because you guys send a butt ton of them, and we are so thankful for all of them. I do know there's at least one funny one in there. So, Scribbles, do your thing.
Okay, this one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. And is it going to play this video on me? No. Okay. Bizarre lipstick-shaped sex toy actually talks back to you.
Jesus Christ, why?
Well, I mean, there's such a thing called you ever hear of a pearl bunny? There's been lipstick-shaped sex toys forever, but this one talks back. Okay.
You've never heard of the girlfriend experience? Come on, man. That's people pay big bucks for that.
Sexy talk in the bedroom can be hit or miss, but now vibrators want to get in on the action. Vibes has developed a lipstick-shaped sex toy powered by artificial intelligence so it can actually chat with you in a creepy British accent while you're getting intimate.
Why?
I think I just found some voiceover work for Irate Bear.
There you go, Bear. Got some more for you, bud.
It works by asking you questions like, do you want a massage, and letting you give it instructions. We're not sure whether we're impressed or weirded out by this bizarre invention. Vibes says its smart lipstick will, quote, bring your fantasies to life, unquote, and aims to, quote, bring out your inner glow. It is designed to look like a lipstick to be discreet, so no embarrassing explaining to do if someone comes across it. The idea is that it's easy to use as your voice controls how hard or soft the vibrations are, which means no fiddling with controls that could be a distraction.
I'm sorry, wait. Your voice controls how hard it goes?
Yep.
But it's discreet.
Yes.
So, okay. I'm having trouble picturing this.
Well, it's discreet in the sense that, like, if somebody sees it in your purse or sees you holding it, it doesn't look like a sex toy.
Okay.
So when you first started talking about this, as a matter of fact, the description has been going on, I've been bouncing back and forth between whether or not this is for males or females.
This is for females, apparently.
Okay. Because I was like, okay, this is for dudes. And then you started explaining that it was lipstick, and I'm like, it's for chicks.
Yes.
And then you said something else, and I'm like, wait, is this for dudes?
Oh my God. As well as making sexy conversation with you, the vibrator syncs up with your favorite audiobooks via your smartphone so you can listen to steamy chapters from 50 Shades of Grey while the intensity of vibrations adjust with what happens in the book.
Wow.
Oh, here we go. Partners can also get in on the action even if they're far away. Using the remote control touch function on the app, your partner can send vibrations to you, perfect for long-distance relationships.
Some millennial is going to get this and use it with Harry Potter books.
Ugh.
Look, if I was a weird fucking pervert, I'd be all over this. But I'm just a regular pervert.
No, I'm not all. Wait, Satsu, I'm not all over this.
I would. I'd be excited.
What?
Like, okay. Merry Christmas, Squishy.
Why? This is what we're doing with technology?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Does it have like an audio jack plug-in? Because I know what the
it's USB
speaker.
Powered.
What's that?
USB powered, apparently.
Well, I mean, I know what the tiny little speaker on my iPod sounds like, and that's not exactly sexy. This tinny ass voice going, "Baby, you want a massage from down at the end of a pipe?" Doesn't sound very.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really become a real thing until somebody tries to assassinate someone with one of these things.
Right.
Yeah, try to figure out a way to like turn it into like a small poison delivery system or something, and then yeah, CIA can be all over it.
I hope it has a setting where the sound you hear is just.
What if it was like, what if it glitched or malfunctioned and you like told it to speed up or something and it was like, command accepted, self-destruct in 3, 2.
You know what? Actually, ladies out there, you guys should buy these and sync them up with us on Lords of the Night.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
You wanna have that lick feeling while I'm talking to you like this?
Yeah, every time we sing Happy Birthday.
And then we'll go.
Beware, we might give you waterfalls.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. All right. Anyway, moving on. This one comes from Frosted Glass. Oh, it's Vice.com. What does Vice.com have to tell us?
Something stupid, I guarantee.
Don't waste your privilege. Share it. Okay.
What?
So this is written by Blair Imani. Okay. And again, this is quoting the article. I am a light-skinned, black, cisgender woman. I am bisexual and in a seemingly heteronormative relationship. Seemingly?
Seemingly.
I am also a Muslim convert who grew up as a witness to, but not as a target of, anti-Muslim rhetoric. And this is all in bold, underlined. So I'm like, so this is basically the same as saying my pronouns are blah, 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 blah.
Wait.
Okay.
You're a Muslim bisexual.
A Muslim convert, bisexual, cisgendered, light-skinned black woman.
I think you need to read your books a little closer.
I am simultaneously experiencing and existing within institutions that are anti-Muslim, anti-queer, sexist, and racist, while also being afforded access to white and wealthy spaces because of my light skin and economic privilege.
I'm going to interrupt you. Johnny Hellcat, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Scribe presents Sex Toys of Death.
That would be an interesting series on Netflix.
Indeed.
Have anyone ever heard of the gates of hell? Well, let me show you what that is in sexual toy terms.
It is comparable to the way a white person benefits from white supremacy, no matter how woke she is. I, too, benefit from systems of social privilege, even if I try my hardest not to be complicit in them. It doesn't matter. You're already complicit because that's just the way privilege works. Haven't you learned anything?
My newest fundraiser is the Ranting Monkey Privilege Fund.
I am simultaneously experiencing and existing with institutions that are anti-Muslim. Okay, I don't know which of those institutions you're talking about is anti-Muslim. Was it the light-skinned black?
I'm assuming society writ large. This is such a scattershot.
Yeah. Now
I'm trying to grasp this. This is deep. Okay.
Now the anti-queer, sexist, and racist part of it that she's existing in. Yes, if you are a converted Muslim, then the institution of Islam is, by doctrine, all of those things. Anyway, how much of this do I really want to read? Oh, she brings up Peggy McIntosh. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. Historically, access and opportunity are too often defined by one's actual or perceived proximity to systems of oppression. The less far away you are perceived to be from power, the more access you have to it, a phenomenon best understood using the term privilege to describe the benefits or advantages that certain groups of people are given or denied in social structures. Our current understanding of social privilege is informed by a widely cited 1989 article on white and male privilege by the feminist scholar Peggy McIntosh. Yes, she who told us that Band-Aid colors are an example of privilege. Quote, since race and sex are not the only advantaging systems at work, McIntosh wrote, we need to similarly examine the daily experience of having age advantage or ethnic advantage or physical ability or advantage related to nationality, religion, or sexual orientation. Yeah, really, Peggy McIntosh's Invisible Knapsack essay and such, for anybody that's curious, is really the building blocks of the current privilege and diversity and inclusion sort of cult that has built up over the last several years. But anyway, I don't really want to read the rest of it because it goes on for about 6 more pages, and I don't care.
Somebody whining that they're able to get away with privilege?
I guess. I suppose. I
Because
mean,
they blend? All right.
They say they have privilege, and yet they exist in an institution that denies them privilege actively, and I don't know.
That was baffling, man.
Well, I didn't read the whole thing, and I'm not going to because, God, I've done enough today talking about that stuff with the video I'm working on. But anyway, how about one from an American Celt? This is from Medium.com. Hashtag #MeToo will not survive unless we recognize toxic femininity. Well, that's a twist.
Yeah.
Okay, this is written by Megan Daum, D-A-U-M.
Real quick, Scribe. As soon as you finish that title, because I'm like over here trying to eat and listen at the same time or whatever, I literally stopped in my tracks and turned around and raised my eyebrows like, what?
I know, I'm intrigued.
Hold on.
All right. Sometimes I wish I could gather up all the women I've ever known or encountered and conduct this informal poll. Raise your hand if you've ever behaved badly and blamed it on your period. Raise your hand if you've ever acted helpless in the face of an unpleasant, if not physically demanding task, like dealing with a wild animal that's gotten inside the house. Raise your hand if you've ever coerced a man into sex, even though he didn't really seem to want it. Raise your hand if you've thought you were at liberty to do this coercing because men, quote, always want it, unquote, and should feel lucky anytime they get it. Raise your hand if you've ever threatened to harm yourself if a man breaks up with you or doesn't want to see you anymore.
This is a real bitch right here.
Raise your hand if you've been physically abusive with a male partner, knowing you'd be unlikely to face any legal consequences. Raise your hand if you've lied about being on birth control or faked a pregnancy scare to see how a man would respond. And finally, raise your hand if you've ever manipulated a divorce or child custody dispute in your favor by falsely insinuating that a man has been abusive towards you or your child. In this hypothetical gathering of every woman I've ever known or encountered, I'm certain there is not a single one of these questions that, if answered honestly, wouldn't send hands into the air, including my own. I know I'm guilty on the pest control front. I don't want to think too hard about some of the others. We hear all too much about toxic masculinity, that amorphous term that refers to the ways traits like aggression and emotional repression are baked into male social norms. It also frequently shows up in online feminism as lazy shorthand for registering disapproval of just about anything men do at all. But when are we going to grant equal rights to women and admit that toxic femininity also exists and can be just as poisonous? This lady is really going against the grain.
Dude, I'm
but
over
she's
here
not
testifying
wrong.
right now.
Yeah, several in there. Preach, yes.
There are
Amen,
minor.
sister.
There are minor forms of feminine toxins, like blaming irrational temper tantrums on, quote, being hormonal, or feigning helplessness in order to get what you want. And there are major toxins, many having to do with weaponizing your fragility so that those to whom you cause harm have a difficult time defending themselves, lest they look like the aggressors. Women, of course, can unleash these tactics on other women, be they romantic partners or not. But for the sake of this discussion, let's say we're talking about women and men and sex. We've established that many men are socially conditioned to think that women owe them sex. But what about the women that assume that men should be grateful for any sex they get? This goes on for many, many pages, guys. So I read the whole thing.
Okay, let me get Johnny
drop a
real
link
quick.
for me.
Oh, yeah, I'll link up.
Johnny says, I know, yeah, we're going to talk about this one tomorrow morning. Johnny says, I know 3 women who have faked pregnancies to keep boyfriends around because they thought they were being left behind. Thank you for the donation. And yeah, I know women like that. I do.
Okay, let me move on here.
Oh, sweet Jesus. This is a gold mine.
I put the link in the chat for anybody else who wants to read it.
This is from Medium, right?
Yeah, which is kind of surprising, honestly.
Actually, lately I've seen some decent articles from them, and they go back and forth. They seem to have a decent split of left and right thinking. They're actually becoming one of my more favorite things to read because of that. And like this article, I mean, this bitch is spot on.
Let's see. This one comes from Captain Brambles. You guys like babysitters?
Are they?
This is the crickets.
Anyway,
do you mean like Pornhub like them, or I need a night out with the wife like them?
I don't know. I just wanted to see what your reaction would be. I guess that's all I needed. Babysitter found drunk without pants on street.
I read that shit.
A babysitter in Maine was arrested after she was found drunk and without pants on a street, while the 2 young children she was hired to watch were left alone inside a home.
That part's not funny, but the rest of it is.
Lauren Jelinas, 25, was arrested Tuesday on charges of endangering the welfare of a child after police in Bangor got a call about a disturbance on Ohio Street. Responding officers then found Galinas outside and not wearing pants, socks, or shoes, according to the station. She told police she was taking care of 2 children in a nearby home, where officers later found 2 children under the age of 5 in unsafe and unsanitary conditions. Officials from the state's Department of Health and Human Services were also called to the scene. An emotional Galinas pleaded not guilty to the charges during a court appearance on Wednesday. Galinas told an arresting officer that she drank vodka before walking out of the home, where one of the children, ages 2 and 4, were later found lying in vomit and crying hysterically.
Jesus.
The other child was found disheveled and asleep upstairs. One child also complained of being kicked by Galinas. Oh, fuck this bitch.
Isn't it cold in Maine right now?
Yep.
I'm not believing the vodka story. This bitch is on something else.
Okay, so this was an early this story really got pushed aside by everything else, but it was like the first thing I woke up to this morning, and it just shocked the hell out of me. So
all right.
I got a DM today from Monkey.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Confession time, says Monkey. I like pretty little ponies. Sometimes I run around on all fours pretending to be one. I put a feather duster in my undies and pretend it's my colorful tail. One day I'll be a real pony.
And unlike Scribe, I didn't judge him. I just looked at it, said, and then closed it.
I didn't judge. I just said I knew it. I knew it. It wasn't a judgment. It was just sort of like, okay, I'm glad Monkey finally got this off his pony chest.
Monkey, I support you. I want to be the one to verbally say that out loud in front of everybody, so that way we all have it on record.
I would just like to say, I love my wife very much. I don't lock up any of my stuff. when I say she can look at anything, I mean it. She can come down here at any time. She even knows the password of my computer. I think goes into rest mode after 30 minutes. She knows how to get into it. I have no problem with it. But for some reason today, she got it in her head to do this. First thing I see is it's actually a very nice little tweet. Let me bring that up real quick.
It's very well articulated. I will say that. You got a super chat.
There it is. Oh, thank you, Flair Fritz. I always knew Monkey was a brony, and Polly is dumb. You want to hate on bronies? I'm gonna get Pat in here to kick your ass.
But you're okay with the Polly being dumb part, right?
No, that's for you to defend.
Okay.
Oh, you thought y'all were friends or something?
Stupid. Monkey's no ally.
I came down here to see the tweet that says somebody is far too trusting. # hacked by the wife. And I thought, okay, that's cute. That's funny. And then I get a private message. I'm like, I wasn't expecting any. So I click on it and I read that. I'm like, that bitch. That bitch. And I say that with love, y'all. But yeah, I read that like, I can't believe she did that. But that's my wife, y'all. She's funny. And when I say she has a biting sense of humor, she does. She really does. And that's why I love her. Why are you being difficult? Oh, sorry. Why are you being difficult, Polly? I did that for Bear. I can't yell Polly as well as he does. I'm sorry.
No one can. It's
true.
It's one of my talent.
It's one of my favorite things when you two are together. We're going to wrap that up with MSS News Time. Guys, thank you so much for all the submissions. Fuck you, Scribe, for that last part. It's time. That was fucketry. That was not news.
Oh, sorry. Well, I put MSS News on it, so that's where it was.
That's true. You did MSS News it, you dick. Where were we? Oh, it's time for YouTube time. And I'm going to tell you guys, I did a stream earlier today, which actually was really fun. We read an article so dumb it hurt my head. I recommend going back and watching it. I recommend watching all of them because I think they're interesting, but today's was especially like, what the fuck is going on here? So check that out. Otherwise, I didn't do anything. I played with the little one all day. And that made me very happy, if painful. Terry, thank you. Do you have a source for that, Monkey, or did you infer it? I'm not talking to you people anymore. Satsu, what'd you work on today?
Nothing. I wanted to stream Red Dead today, but Squishy is off the entire weekend. And that hit me the moment I got home and I finally got a chance to play the game. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to stream this. And I'm like, oh, shit. I forgot she's literally home all weekend. And the reason that's complicated is usually isn't that much of a problem because I'll just stream it. But I need to utilize both the PlayStation and my computer in order to stream games off of my PlayStation. And that leaves her with like nothing to do. And a Squishy with nothing to do is not a Squishy you want to deal with.
Squishy has something to do. It's baby making time, y'all.
Well, yeah, that's usually what happens. So I was just like, okay, all right, I have to make a conscious decision this time on what I'm gonna do. So I chilled out, and she was watching Netflix all day or whatever. She still assaulted me, but at the very least, it was a controlled situation. So don't you laugh?
Oh my god! Before I get to what the rest of you did, I have to share this. This was just shared with me. This may be the greatest Halloween costume of the year.
What the hell is that?
It's Judge Kavanaugh.
Oh no.
He's got the beer head, the helmet.
Oh, nice.
I like that one.
He gonna trigger the fuck out of somebody.
Yeah, he is. Somebody's gonna blow a rape whistle in his ear. Polly, what have you been working on?
Excuse me. I have been continuing to work on the stuff on my channel, comic book curation. We were going to have a live stream with Jim Healis, of Blue Mamba fame. I wanted to talk to him and get the hear about the background of trying to fulfill sending it out, like because there's a lot of indie creators and you kind of only hear bits and pieces, but this guy's having to ship worldwide for all the people that bought his comics. So we wanted to talk to him and what the response has been like, because people have been really excited to receive it. Unfortunately, I can't get the band together tonight, not in their entirety. Some of them are at weddings, some of them are, I don't know, drunkenly carousing. So I asked Jim to reschedule that. So we're going to be doing that. Plus, I'm putting together a new super cool intro. When I start fucking around in Vegas, I don't know, Scribe, you've seen when I start editing stuff, I just take it too far, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. and so, yeah, I'm working for on a new 10-second intro for the recorded edited series.
The
That's what I was
masterpiece
doing.
is never completed, only abandoned.
Yeah, and a masterpiece is a strong word, but you can be your own worst critic. You know how it is, where you just keep going and going and going.
Yep, tweak.
Yeah, and so that's what I did all day long on that.
Scribbles, other than defaming me with the help of my wife, what did you do today?
Hey, I didn't know it was coming. I just saw it and I thought, well, this is...
And shared it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was like...
Real quick. Several people have been like, why would he share it? Guys, that was funny as fuck. I have no problem with him sharing that. That was perfect.
Yeah,
so
yeah, if that, I mean, guys, I never, ever share DMs. It just, private conversations are private conversations, but this was obviously a joke.
Yes,
obviously.
Exactly.
And so I was just like, well, this is just gold, and it doesn't have the same effect unless everyone gets a chance to partake. So that's all.
Yeah,
but you're still a dick.
I know, but I think I've got a bigger fan now in Lady Monkey than I did yesterday. So that's probably worth it.
Not only that, if there's ever somebody you want to do something horrible to, and they'll just laugh it off, it's probably Monkey.
Probably me, yeah.
Well, anyway, that aside, which doesn't really count as YouTube time, except for bringing it up here, I continued working on my next video, which is a actual TED Talk and not a TEDx talk. So it's super fancy. The actual talk is only about 9 minutes long, which makes it usually about half as long as a usual talk on TEDx. And it's a woman. Well, the title of the talk seems to imply that I'm going to be learning how to be a good ally in the workplace. And as our speaker opens up her presentation, she tells us her tales of woe in the workplace and people not paying her the respect and attention she feels she's due, and therefore she's being mistreated. It's one of those things where it's kind of like the more you listen, it's like, okay, so everybody else is wrong and you're perfect. It even gets to the point where she says, and as I considered these microaggressions, I realized it wasn't me, it was the culture surrounding me. And I was like, did you really just say that? Did you really make it that easy for me? You made it that easy for me. Okay. So anyway, I'm working on that a little piece by piece. If I get really ambitious tomorrow, I might actually get the audio recorded after I finish the script. I've got about maybe a third left of the video to go over. Yeah, I might actually have something out early this next week. And then I did very, very small little proofreading on my Halloween story for the Two Girls One stream show for Halloween that'll be read that night. And if I get that done, hopefully in the next day or so, I'll do a recording of it fresh. What?
Stargazer Nuts. Pretty feather duster fun, and she links to my Streamlabs. God damn it.
Anyway, I'm done.
With that, guys, that wraps up the YouTube time. We are not going to do fucketry in depth tonight. Do you guys have any?
Not really.
Not a lot. I mean, let me see. I was getting into some Twitter shenanigans and just some really stupid stuff that I've seen. So who is this? Soledad O'Brien?
Soledad.
Yeah.
Haven't heard of her in a while.
She said on Twitter, bigots are never, ever condemned by the president, who is also himself a bigot. And lots of people shared the video of Trump literally saying, I condemn a multitude of things after they happened. But I responded to that. You guys have made Trump the most powerful man on the planet because no matter what happens, you always give him credit for it. He doesn't even have to try to piss you people off because if a shark eats a diver in Australia, you'll blame Trump for it. Because literally, no matter what happens, everything is attributed to Trump. He is that powerful. And I don't think they understand that is kind of the narrative that they're building. Like he is the most powerful person to ever exist because he has influenced every negative thing that has ever taken place. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you really understand how much power you're giving him willingly. But it's hilarious.
No, I agree. I truly believe Jim Acosta stubs his toe in his house alone and screams out, "Goddamn Trump!"
Fucking Trump.
And there's a lot of people. So somebody brought up the conversation of free speech, and I basically told somebody that we were talking about this earlier. That as much as you guys hate your freedoms, you probably should adore Trump, which was hilarious. People got pissed off by that. Let me see. Oh yeah, and then the Shroom shared a post of like a whole bunch of people: the Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Holder, and Cory Booker, pretty much, calling people to arms, essentially, or just saying like you need to do really negative things to other people you disagree with. And I shared that over on Facebook, and this one chick who vehemently disagrees with me on almost everything was just like, yeah, that's pretty funny. Like me and her go back and forth all the time on Facebook, and she is convinced that everything I say is just like sacrilege. And this time she was just like, that's actually hilarious. Other than that, I didn't get into much. Just a little fucketry here or there, but it was mostly trolling.
I got into a couple that are maybe discussion worthy, but I actually have a better discussion in mind. But I do want to share one bit of fucketry from today. This. Yes. I'm just going to leave it there for you to look at for a minute. I appreciate the artwork. That one, that came from Mr. Adam, if you want to use his name properly. But that's the end of my fucketry. Now, Polly.
Yes.
I invited you on tonight for a specific reason, and we'll get to that in a second. Nighthawk, thank you. Just wanting to congratulate you for your service by stopping the bomber. As such, please allow your biggest fan the opportunity to send you a DM for your new pony avatar for the channel. My DMs are open, and thank you so much for the donation. Yeah, some of the artwork that's been coming in because of this is awesome. But the other day, Polly and I were having a discussion, and he said that he thought Batman v Superman: The Dawn of Justice was a better movie than Batman. Or The Dark Knight Rises. That's
The Dark Knight Rises, yeah.
Now, I told Scribe about this. And guys, this is not a blood sports discussion. That's not what this was in favor. I was trying to articulate to Scribe how you came to be that, because Scribe's like, I would love to hear that reasoning. And I was like, I don't remember it. So instead of me trying to have a intermediary conversation, I thought two big movie nerds could talk about that, and you guys can discuss that and see why Polly is so wrong about this. And before we get there, thank you, Flair Fritz. Monkey couldn't be a horse since horses are actually fun to ride. Ask your mama.
Oh!
Anyway, Polly, what would be your argument of why it's a better movie? Now, I do want to. He didn't say it was a great movie, guys. Just better than the other one.
I mean, there's two things before I get started. Like, one, I realize that this is not a popular opinion, as evidenced by Irate Bear saying that Polly is literally Hitler in all caps. So I recognize I'm going against the grain on this one, and that's fine.
Sure,
that's fine. And second of all, just like you said, keep in mind, guys, what I'm trying to say here is that it's not BVS, it's not a great movie. It's simply a better movie than Dark Knight Rises.
Bullshit.
I think first and foremost, what needs to be understood or kind of like just accepted is that there is an aura of nostalgia, some Christopher Nolan nostalgia around Dark Knight Rises. The people, when they watch that film, are thinking of Heath Ledger. They're thinking of the great things that they liked about the first two films, and that's the lens through which they're seeing Dark Knight Rises. They're not looking at it independently, in my opinion. And in BVS, they're thinking of Man of Steel and the disappointment there and the cloud of depression that hangs over DCEU films.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this right, for the first part of your argument here is that you think the first two Batman movies actually made the third one seem better, where Man of Steel actually made Batman v Superman seem worse?
That's right. I think that there's a vibe of acceptance around Dark Knight Rises that's undeserved, and I think there's a vibe of fuck that shit around BVS that is undeserved to begin with. Let's talk about what's wrong with Dark Knight Rises to begin with. The entire Joseph Gordon-Levitt part of the film could be edited out and it would affect the film in no way. First of all, the film's way too goddamn long. They needed an editor. That's your
complaint about Dark Knight Rises and CBS is a better movie.
Well, I've just started.
I know. I was being very silent because I was like, okay, I just want to hear what the argument is, and I'm like, that your first point is the length of the film is a problem.
It's way too goddamn long because it includes shit that ain't got shit to do with shit. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's entire part. Like, I realize Christopher Nolan has a stable of actors he digs, and it seems like he just shoehorned the man in there, especially the aspect of it's revealed near the end that his original birth name was Robin. See what I did there? Come on, man. Like, it's just, what was he even there for? He's supposed to be like a young Commissioner Gordon. He's the new up and comer. I don't even understand it. Like I said, you could edit the entire guy out of the film and it wouldn't even matter. That is not good for any film to be able to say that of. What a main character was completely inconsequential to the plot? Shit. Number one. Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. As much as I loved Anne Hathaway in Tight Leather, which I really did, that was one of the best things about that film. Her relationship with Bruce Wayne, with aging Bruce Wayne, was lame. She's after a clean slate, the program that's going to wipe her entire criminal history. Oh, come on. Like, that stretches comic book credulity. It was just dumb. And this is supposed to be like Christopher Nolan in the real world presentation of comic book lore. And it's like that clean slate thing, just it could, like, really, like, this sounds stupid even for a comic book. I mean, how would that even be possible? That doesn't even make any sense whatsoever within the universe that he's trying to establish. I thought that was lame. The entire thing about, like, Bane, oh my God, a second time a director of his level of skill allows an actor to come on his set and use a voice that's so bad that it becomes infamous. But this time, not only does the actor do such a strange voice, he does such a strange voice that they actually need to overdub it because he went so far that nobody could understand what he was saying in the original 6-minute release of the film. Like, come on. It was, again, this happens. So those are, do we need to talk about how the hell did Bruce Wayne survive that explosion at the end? Well, it doesn't matter. He just did. Come on. Because he's Batman. That's the only reason. He just happens to be there in, what was it, Venice at the end? And he just
Gregory Hurst, thank you. Flash came to me in a dream and said Polly's wrong.
So Batman v Superman. What's right with it? Okay.
Why did you say that name?
Okay, let's start there. Why not? Martha, let's just go for the big game to begin with. That was a poorly filmed scene. It was a poorly executed scene, but it was a good plot point. I don't think that Batman, Bruce Wayne, being shocked out of that moment because he views Superman as an intolerable threat. If there's even a 1% chance in that great scene between him and Jeremy Irons, which was a spectacular piece of casting to bring in Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennyworth. It was brilliant. If there's even a 1% chance that this guy could kill us all, then we need to act like it's 100% true. Yeah, this is Batman's perspective anyway on it. He views him as an alien threat. To be shocked into that moment because mom and dad are a big thing for him. It's his entire impetus as a superhero, and to hear his own mother's name shocked him for a second to think, this guy isn't the alien monster that I've seen him at. It made him stop and think. That
Just
was
because
poorly
it's his mom
executed,
name
but it was a
doesn't
good
mean-
idea.
Monkey, are you going to let him have his argument, or are you going to keep trying to do my job for me?
If you want to jump in there anytime.
No. I want to hear his pitch first before I respond. I don't want to start. I mean, I understand I've already cut him a couple times here, but I am holding myself back because I want to have lay out his case, and then I'll respond.
Let me just say one more thing. Martha!
Translation, Scribe said, shut the fuck up, monkey.
He did, and I'm muting myself right now.
I remember the complaints. The original complaint all around BVS was nothing to do with Henry Cavill. It was around Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was the best thing about that film. If you like Dark Knight Returns, if you like Frank Miller, and I do on both counts in a big way, the presentation of the old grizzled Batman was excellent. It was a great choice to have. You can't go wrong by working with great material and pulling from Dark Knight Returns, which has been done again and again in film. It was most faithfully executed there in BVS. I was really looking forward to the Batman standalone film because I think Ben Affleck blew everybody away as Bruce Wayne. I think he did a fantastic job. Henry Cavill, people say, "Oh, the guy can't smile." Well, that was more the director's fault than anything. I still think that he's plays a great Superman, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to see him to be able to do it again. The reason for the fight, the reason for the beef between the two of them, that they're going to fight, made plenty of sense. It works within the plot. It works within the script established. Whereas the motivations and reasoning for people over in Dark Knight Rises is Bane, I just want to bring about, chaos and to show that people what they're really going to be like when they're brought into anarchy and so forth. The whole plot is barely holding itself together, where in BVS, you may not like it, but at least it's a continuous plot that holds itself up. Okay. I mean, that's my basic thrust forward. I would like to hear what you think so far.
All right. Well, unlike your claim, I thought that Dark Knight Rises was the worst of the three Batman movies, and I wasn't a big fan of Batman Begins. I thought as a bookend attempt to try to build off of the events of Batman Begins, it was really scattershot and weak. But so your basic deal is that the plot points in Batman v Superman were less bad than those in Dark Knight Rises.
The story beats go together to create a 3-act beginning, middle, and end in such a way that it's structured, that it makes sense. You might not like the execution of it, but it's a better film. Yes.
Well, you may not like the execution of it, but it's okay. So if it's a better film, then it has to be the style, the actual structure and creation of the film through the editing and the shots and the cinematography and everything. Because the stories are ridiculous. I mean, Superman at no point just explains to Batman, they've captured my mother and holding her hostage. This convoluted, just sort of weird arrangement of Lex Luthor, who was basically the Joker in that movie, the way it was portrayed. Wonder Woman, who in that movie, Gal Gadot was not a good actress, and she had practically nothing to do with the movie until the very end. The contrived way in which the Lex Luthor was supposed to get Superman to fight Batman was so ham-fisted and weird. Now, Batman's motivation was like every critic of Man of Steel, and I didn't see Man of Steel, so I didn't have any reference for Batman v Superman versus aside from what I already knew of Man of Steel. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, Batman is representing every critic of how Man of Steel was played out and how Superman acted in Man of Steel. He's sort of the avatar for the critical audience of the first movie, because it's like, this guy's a fucking monster and he destroyed half of Metropolis. He has to be stopped.
Right.
And of course, my question then is, why is anybody worshiping this guy as a hero? Because Batman's opinion is not exactly something that most people would be opposed to, given what happened. 90% of what was going on in Man of Steel and the Krypton and everything else, the general public would have no idea about. All they would have seen is this guy crashing through buildings, knocking people down, and killing people.
They would have they would have known about Zod. The giant ship would have kind of been a
Well, yeah, but
not
they
too
wouldn't have
subtle signal,
They wouldn't have any reference for why Superman is the good guy versus Zod was the bad guy, especially what they did together and against each other.
He was the guy who stopped him.
The whole impetus, well, that's arguable given how he knocked down the buildings with Zod, threw him half the time. Anyway,
Well,
so the whole
okay.
plot of Batman v Superman supposes that somehow there's enough of a thrust of heroism put behind Superman that there's this civil war, whose side are you on debate going on in the world. And then you got, was it 2.5 hours, 3 hours was BVS, and most of it was the fight.
Well, the theatrical was much different than the Blu-ray release.
Yeah.
The theatrical was very close to 2 hours.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray was like 2:35.
So it was dark. It was muddy. When the final fight finally happened, you couldn't tell what was going on half the time, who was doing it. Just another everything's blowing up kind of deal. The logic behind using the Krypton dust versus stabbing him with why didn't he have kryptonite bullets? Why did he make a staff and also use dust, but not just have a kryptonite gun if he really wanted to kill Superman?
It wore off faster than he thought it was going to.
Well, he would have known that when he was making the bullets, so why wouldn't he have just made the bullets to begin with the knowledge that it was going to hurt him?
Because he knew enough to know that kryptonite's hard as fuck. That's why you had to use a laser to cut it. And there's no way you could fire that hard of a bullet down a barrel.
Yeah, well, he's Batman. He'd find a way.
Fair enough. I mean, it's
talking
true.
about the logic of the events. It's like, well, the logic of these events don't make any sense. The Martha thing was ridiculous, as we've already said.
You could say that. It doesn't make it so. I mean, how is the argument that I made as to why it makes sense not completely plausible and acceptable within the established character traits of what's going on?
Well, because if all it takes is for Batman to hear his mother's name to suddenly get out of this "I must stop a threat to all of humanity" fugue, I'm not quite sure how strong his conviction was in the first place.
I'm not trying to. Well, you make it like as if it was like a trick phrase or a post-hypnotic suggestion. It wasn't. Nobody knew that. He didn't know that going in.
No. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it doesn't make any sense. Must save Martha. Like, well, if Superman was willing to tell Batman his motivation for doing what he was doing in the first place at that point, why didn't he open with that? Why didn't he tell Batman, Lex Luthor has kidnapped my mother, help me find her and stop this? Why didn't he do that?
If he did that, do you think he would have had to tell her that the name was Martha?
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
This is supposed to be Superman. This is supposed to be the movie that's supposed to be something of a counterpoint to Man of Steel, where he wasn't just a rampaging, grim beast monster. And yet that's all he is in Batman. He's just being grim, like, stand down. Like, do you bleed? You will. Like, oh my God, really? These are the superheroes. This is DC 4-color superheroes talking to each other.
If you read Dark Knight Returns,
I have read Dark Knight Returns, but they build up to that. There's an established relationship between the two characters prior to this, which informs where they're at this point in the story and their lives. Okay, we don't have any of that.
Okay, but would that have even been able to have been established? I mean,
yes.
When I say
if you knew what the fuck they were doing with their characters and franchises, yes.
Well, I hear you there. It was rushed. Like, no, they shouldn't have went with BVS to begin with. They went with Avengers right off the bat. And,
yes, exactly.
And they shouldn't have. And
Avengers.
And I agree with that. But to kind of try and tell Batman's story with like the end of his life where he's like a crippled man and his back's broken and he needs to why we fall and all that shit so we can learn to crawl back up. That entire sequence in Dark Knight Rises was lame as fuck. It was a weak adaptation of Nightfall when Bane broke Batman's back. Like, I mean, you want to talk about poor use of source material? Yeesh.
No, you're not going to get me to defend the plot points used in Dark Knight Rises. These are both. So, okay, hold on. Yep. These are both bad sequels in their own ways.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question. Okay, cool.
The reason that Batman v Superman is a worse movie, in my opinion, is because it has not earned a lot of the moments that it builds up to in the movie. Now you can, and I have argued like Dark Knight Rises is the worst of the 3 Batman films in the Nolan verse, but at least there is something and characters and situations pre-established that are a kind of payoff in moments in that movie if you've been watching the other two, and especially Batman Begins. There's something of a continuity, a logic to the progression of events, even if they're not well executed. Batman v Superman has these moments of Superman being perceived as this like angelic figure when nothing in Man of Steel would have informed that at all. There's this ire and this animosity between Batman and Superman, which it's understandable on the Batman level to a certain degree, but just basically on the, oh, this guy's a threat. But this Batman has not been established in the universe. We know nothing about him. We don't have anything to go off of, like, what else is motivating him? Why? I mean, the Martha thing, yeah, it'd be significant, I suppose, but they don't earn that being as significant.
Just to be clear, the character traits that Batman has in BVS are not established well enough that there's any kind of earned thing there, is what you're saying.
This is something that separates a really good movie from a really bad movie. And that is when you get to the significant moments of your film, is the mechanism of the moment to the plot something that has been earned by the events previous in the story? Like if you watch Super 8, okay, Super 8 was tried to be this E.T. sort of Goonies sort of, throwback to the 80s kids movies kind of thing. And there's this moment at the very end of the movie where the two fathers of the two main kids or daughter, whatever, they have this really emotional moment where they're like everything else. But it has no payoff because none of that was earned. You hadn't established this relationship. There wasn't anything like really significant about the fathers except in some very vague terms. And then they have this coming together at the end with their kids. But it was a moment that was not earned. So the impact of that moment is empty. It's weightless. And that's the problem with DC having done Avengers before having done something like, here's the Man of Steel movie. Here's the Dark Knight detective movie or whatever. Here's the Wonder Woman movie. Now here's the three of them coming together after we've spent some time getting to know these characters, how they fit in the universe, what their attitudes are, what their perspectives are, what their weaknesses are. And then we see what happens when you put these three in the mix. They didn't do that. And that's DC's fault. And that makes this a worse movie than Dark Knight Rises.
Okay,
because
now,
real quick, guys, I have a super chat. Why Kick and Lucao? Thank you. How was your day today, Monkey? Very, very good. I got to spend it with Grand Monkey. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Okay. Two quick things, and hear me out on this one. I hear all the points that you're making, and I don't really necessarily disagree with them. But what I find interesting is that a lot of the substance of your arguments as to why BVS is not a good film is related to things outside of the film and in comparison to what other films have done. And that's my exact point, is that, oh, well, the films that came before it inside of Dark Knight Rises established this and established that. Okay, but let's talk about the film from the time the lights go down in the theater to the time when they come up. It's people are looking at things in and around it. I'm saying the films in and of themselves, when you look at them independently, people have nostalgia goggles on when they're watching Dark Knight Rises and saying, oh, well, here's a payoff from like this last film and this film. And that's my point. It's a scattershot attempt and a very, very weak end to it. Second thing I wanted to say, I think Batman's motivation and the little moments that lead up to understanding who he is and why he is and what he's doing are very well done in BVS, actually. The interactions he has with Jeremy Irons as Alfred are fucking excellent, in my opinion. It's when Batman's waking up, or Bruce Wayne rather, is waking up and he's been drinking the wine right out of the Wayne cellar, and he makes this joke that like there won't be another generation of Waynes because you're getting older. A later conversation when Bruce Wayne says, I'm now older than my father ever was, his father being so important to him, and now I'm the old man and I have no children. I have nothing to leave behind. And he starts thinking long term. And that's part of why he feels so threatened by Superman. What kind of legacy am I leaving? Nothing. Well, this is the thing that I'm going to do that's going to matter. He's getting more and more violent. He's starting to brand people in a way that he didn't before. Has Batman become a psycho? Because he's felt that, and he even says, I felt that I've done everything I've done hasn't really mattered up until now. Now I'm going to do something that matters.
Okay, well, first off, I'm not being sentimental. These are franchises. These are meant to be continuous stories from one to another. They're not sitting all by themselves, unfortunately. Without Man of Steel, BVS doesn't make any sense. Without Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises has nothing on which to stand. When you're building up these shared unified universes, you can't completely look at the film and the events therein within a bubble of their own making. Now, Dark Knight, the Dark Knight was effectively separate from anything in Batman Begins, save for a couple of character references. It could be considered its own because it wasn't narratively connected necessarily with either of the other two movies. But you can't look at Dark Knight Rises without also considering Batman Begins. You can't look at BVS without considering Man of Steel. And so if these things are a continuation from one story to the next, then they have to be weighted on whether or not the plot points and the characters and the events make sense in continuation from one to the other. It's not sentiment. It's just that's the nature of the beast. And
let me ask you this. What did you think of the very beginning of BVS where Bruce Wayne is coming in and it's sort of like, what would be the word? Like
it was a 9/11 event.
Yeah, like the sort of flashback where Bruce Wayne is on the ground now in the events. It's a crossover to the previous film. What did you think of that intro scene to explain Bruce Wayne's...
Oh, no. Okay. As I've said, I think many times now, I understand Bruce Wayne's motivation for fighting Superman in the way it was established in the movie. His motivation for stopping fighting and the whole Martha thing was just stupid. And, but you're talking about like Dark Knight Returns and all. It's like, but yeah, but that entire dynamic between the characters was entirely different because there was a history there. The only thing they got with Dark Knight Returns in this is that Batman puts on a super suit and fights Superman. That's about it. And they have a grudge that's been sort of manufactured.
Yeah, their grudge is different in Dark Knight Returns, no question. Yeah. It's
like I say, given the events of Man of Steel, his motivation is understandable. The execution of its resolution is dumb, and that's why it kind of robs the entire power away from his problem with it in the first place. If all he needed was some sign that the guy was human, then why isn't there some consideration, at least on his part, for the whatever valid argument the rest of the half of the population has for thinking of him as a hero? Why isn't he able to see the compassion side of Superman that half the planet does?
Because he's so wrapped up in his 1% theory.
Let me give these two super chats real quick. Thank you, Gregory Hurst. Lex was more pointless character than Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And thank you, Wykick and Mookow. Batman uses steroids and sold drugs to make all his money. Okay, you guys got 4 minutes before chat time, so jump.
Okay. I would say that you made a number of interesting points. Now, I would say if there's one Achilles heel to my argument that could completely unhinge the whole thing and be like, okay, you're wrong, is fucking Lex Luthor. Like, holy shit, man. I have made no attempt to defend that acting job. There's a reason for that, and God damn, that was bad. And it's cringy to watch.
It was lazy writing, because if Batman's motivation for fighting Superman is so pure, why do you need Lex Luthor there to egg them on?
Okay, this is the part that I understand but don't accept what you're saying. I find it persuasive but ultimately unconvincing, because you do have a monument built to this guy as a savior. There are lots of people that view him as a savior. He's doing fantastic things like pulling ships out of the Arctic and all of that, and bombs and flames. You see those cut scenes when he's doing that. So there's reasons that people are going to see him as a hero, and there's reasons to be, false god with all of their placards when they're protesting against him. Batman happens to be one of his core traits of Batman has always been is his indomitable will. He sees things in a very black and white way, and he's decided his 1% belief is the way that it is. And it takes something so shocking as the most shocking thing in his life, the death of his parents, to pull him out of it. I find that believable within the context of the movie. I did want to talk about Wonder Woman. Her reason for being there, you talked about the franchise. It was to set up her as a franchise. She didn't do anything until the end. Well, the whole reason she was at the party to begin with was to steal the information, because she knew that Lex had found out who she, quote, really was, that she had been, was immortal and so forth. That's why she was there at the party. I thought the interactions between her and Bruce were sexy and well played, and there was a nice, sexy energy between them. And she looked hot as hell. And so she's about to leave and get on the plane, and then sees that this big battle is going on, and that she's Wonder Woman. She can't do that. She fights on the side of what is right, so she turns around and goes back. It was a small part, but that it didn't make sense or didn't fit into the movie. How?
Oh, of course it didn't make sense, because, okay, so in response to being found out by Lex Luthor for who she really is and being an immortal and everything, she then goes and fights the giant monster without a mask on.
Well, the connection to
It's
her
like,
being
I must protect my secret identity. Let me go out in public without a mask. And yeah, there you go.
something as threatening as doomsday. Yeah. And nobody particularly knows that her, and remember, the fight was happening on a completely deserted location, which was an obvious thing, I think, on
which was a nice convenient plot device that's like, oh well, nobody's gonna be killed this time.
Well, yeah, I mean, the studio and the director had heard the bullshit, you know what I mean, and they were responding to it, I think, is what was going on there, because they make it a clear point of that. Do you not feel like Monkey had mentioned that, you know, after you watch a DCEU film, whichever one it is, there's this sort of like depression, like this sadness, because it is dark, and I agree with you on that. Zack Snyder made 300 and never stopped making it. But I feel total blue balls after watching Dark Knight Rises. Like, really, that was it? Like, that's the way that this ended? As good as The Dark Knight was? Yeah, the anticlimactic, absolutely flat, middling nature of Dark Knight Rises is a complete point of depression that's worse than the darkness that Hack Snyder put forth, for me.
You're like I say, you're not going to get me to say that these were either good films. I just think that the editing, the action of BVS, just the overall blandness of so much stuff, and just people being violent and beating each other up, and that's supposed to replace like actual drama or storytelling. I mean, Dark Knight Rises attempted something like a story. It didn't really succeed, but I never felt bored watching Dark Knight Rises. Whereas
you're going to talk about the action falling short when you don't even see Batman in the Batman suit until like 58 minutes into the film. How can you even talk about the action in Dark Knight Rises? It was bereft of it.
Okay, guys, I've enjoyed this, and several people have mentioned that you guys should do movie videos together. But we are at the bottom of the hour, so real quick, any closing statements? Polly first.
I don't know. I like passionate arguments, and I love nerding the fuck out. I hope I gave
this has been fun for me. Seriously,
I know. I saw you fucking around in chat, man. Shit. I just, I was not aiming to convince. I was aiming to provide food for thought, and I hope I achieve that. And I know I can argue a little passionately when I'm convinced on something, especially when it's about nerdy stuff. So I hope Scribe didn't take anything of your opinion ain't shit like that. I hope it came across as just two nerds going at it for the sake of it, which is a good thing.
I'm not even a big DC fan, so I don't have any like stake in this or whatever. It just
okay. Yeah, that's my entire closing statement.
Scribe, anything you want to add?
Marvel's better.
Polly, we do argue around here sometimes over much more substantial stuff. So I don't think substantive things. So I actually really enjoyed that. I'm a nerd, but I don't know as much about this stuff. All I know is I hated, by the way, Dark Knight Rises, but I did enjoy it more than BBS. So it was good to hear you guys actually argue about it. Nobody got called names or anything. Pussies.
I mean,
chat.
Polly is dumb enough name as it is. So. I thought Flair Fritz might like that one.
Chat, now is your time. Questions, comments, concerns, throw them into the chat. If you guys want to ask these guys about more, because I know there were several questions coming through for you guys. Scribe, it was asked a couple of times what you thought of Heath Ledger's Joker.
Oh, well, I mean, I thought that it was one of the best interpretations of the character ever put on film. A really unique interpretation. I mean, turning him into just a force of nature, as he should be. I think it was probably it was the best character rendition of the character, if that makes any sense.
I got you.
On film so far. But I like each iteration of the Joker for different reasons. But I think Heath Ledger's interpretation and the writing for that character in The Dark Knight was the most Well, my vocabulary is failing me at the present, but it's good.
I don't know that the writing would have worked with anyone else. Heath just fucking nailed that. And whether it was the directing or his ability to act, that all just came together so well. That movie should have been called The Joker.
Yeah, after fashion. Next one.
Yeah, and it added the extra poignance to it that he wasn't around to play him again. You know.
Yeah. This is from Jean-Pierre to all of us. Satsu, you can start talking again now too. What are you guys doing for Halloween? I will be here and then playing games with Satsu. We'll be playing 7 Days to Die that night.
Yep, pretty much.
Drinking.
Polly's drinking. Scribbles.
Halloween. I'm not doing much of anything. I got to work the next day, so I'll be here and just kind of hanging out.
What were you about to add there, Polly?
Just going to a party and just drinking. Why am I an ass hat? Old Grouchy Gamer just kind of throws Polly's an ass hat. It's like, yeah, I know.
But Scribe, so you know, Flair Fritz did enjoy your cut.
That's fine. I'm glad.
Harbos wants to know our thoughts on the upcoming Miss Marvel movie. I think it's going to be a Marvel movie. Guys?
I think it's going to be a shade of one.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, from the preview, I don't know what the content of the movie will be, but it's definitely like, by the way, this movie is a message movie more than anything else. And I was kind of like,
message?
Because here's how she becomes a hero in the trailer. And I was like, really?
Which the Marvel people have made clear as we're moving forward. We're diversifying the MCU. You know, Chris Evans no longer playing Captain America, and I loved me some Chris Evans as Captain America. Mm-hmm. And the rumor around the mill is that it's going to be a black person or a woman, and then Mary Sue gets involved, and they're like, why not both? And I'm like, sure, why not? Fuck it. Like, this is the quest for diversity seems to be where the MCU is going by their own words, by their own promotion. That's where they're going, and I'm wondering if Miss Marvel is going to be the first of that.
Captain Marvel, by the way.
Captain Marvel.
To get it right, we don't want to demote her by microaggression.
No, I get caught up with Miss Marvel because of Rachel Summers playing Miss Marvel, and anyway, nerd shit. Don't worry about me.
Kara asks, "What's your favorite pony monkey?" And Jack immediately asks, "So how's the stallion tonight?" And then USP asks, "Monkey has ponies?" Okay, I don't have ponies. I don't like ponies. I have played ponies with Little Butt, and I'm not ashamed of that at all. Fuck all y'all. There was another question up here. Where was that? Scribe, can you talk about the movie not earning things, and you didn't bring up Doomsday?
Well, I mean, there was a lot to talk about there. Doomsday was a wasted character as far as saying that was Doomsday. I don't know why they didn't just make it generic Monster Man or something. Because Doomsday, they use so many there's so many events in that movie that they just threw everything at the table. They killed off Superman. They had the Batman versus Superman fight. They had Doomsday. It's like we're going to use every trick we have in the book all at once and not have any build up to it. So Doomsday showing up is just a monster. There's no other significance to him whatsoever, and he's defeated by the end of the movie. The end. All of these things, by all rights, in the lore, should have been built up over time, hinted at, earned to make them significant, and they just end up being not significant. Just one more plot point amongst a cacophony of others. So if I had one big problem with BVS, not being a DC fan, it was that. It was they threw everything but the kitchen sink into it, and none of it really stuck as well as if they plotted it out over time.
Do you think those movies are so dark because they can't afford lighting?
No, they can afford it. That's the damnable thing. It's not like they didn't have the money to turn the brightness on the screen up. Yeah.
Now
somebody needs to adjust the gamma.
If you want to know about the lighting thing, look at there's videos on YouTube of a comparison of what Justice League looked like before Joss Whedon got involved and after. They just literally turned up the gamma. The Zack Snyder version when they fought Superman in the park.
I haven't seen it. So
they've turned up all the colors and almost oversaturated in some places to make it brighter.
Nice.
They did that because they were trying to make a consistency the Nolan Batman universe they'd established, and to try to distinguish themselves from Marvel, when I think that was the exact opposite choice to make. So,
Polly, have you ever read the Goon comics?
I have not.
I make an animated movie out of it a few years ago, or at least did a little test of it. Paul, I'm suddenly forgetting his name. Not Giamatti. What the fuck am I trying to say?
No idea.
Oh, Paul Giamatti. Sorry, Paul Giamatti was the voice of one of the characters, and I think Ron Perlman was the voice of the other one.
Really? I love me some Giamatti. So
yeah, just look up the Goon. Like it's either promo or trailer or like short film or something. It was supposed to be like a pilot for a full animated movie, and it looked like it'd be good, but it never got off the ground.
Night Ninja asked, "What's my favorite comic book company?"
Yep, that was my next one. Go ahead.
Okay, pre 02 Marvel.
Yeah, well, Spider Clones.
Well, yeah, the Clone Saga.
The fucking Clone Saga. Jesus Christ.
The thing that killed monkeys' love. Yeah.
Marvel 1982 through 1988, pretty much, is probably the best period for me.
Stenlock says the Goon animated movie, you should find it, and I'm sad it never got made. You should fund. Oh, what?
I think there was like a Kickstarter or something for it, or I don't know. I can remember now.
Kira asked how Grand Monkey was today. She was in full-blown grandpa mode, and those are my favorite days. She could not be without me today, which was awesome. This is to all of us. Just so you know, the only true Batman is Adam West. I love Adam West. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I still think Michael Keaton is really my favorite Bruce Wayne.
He was my favorite Bruce Wayne, absolutely. In that era, my favorite Batman though was actually Val Kilmer.
Really?
I didn't like him as Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, I just think he fit the part better.
I can't remember if you guys responded. I think Monkey did to that tweet I sent a little while ago. I said, just for the record, here's my Bruce Waynes and Batmans in order. And yeah, number one was Michael Keaton. Number two was Ben Affleck, because I thought he did such a stellar job. But yeah, Val was right near the bottom of the list, man. What I found funny is that everyone who responded to it and reordered it to their own way, a lot of people put Adam West as number one, which was cool. But everybody had Clooney either at or damn near the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
he sucked.
He was bad.
He looked the part of Bruce Wayne, but he didn't. He just didn't sell it. He just did not sell it well at all. RJ's mentioned a couple of times. Remember the Wichita swatter from late 2018, Tyler Barris? He might get life in jail for murder. It's possible he was behind Matt swatting in 2016. Don't know who he is. And
oh, right. Is that the guy that got the guy killed by calling and swatting that house?
Was that back in 2017? Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was earlier this year.
Nope.
Huh. Thank you so much, Ashley. Did any of you guys see Venom yet? What are your thoughts on the film? You know what, Ashley? I have not. I will see it when it comes out on. I'll get it on DVD the day it comes out, but I'm not going to like it. I'm already not. I'm going to do my best to put what I know about Venom out of my head and try, but.
Yeah, everything I've been told is that I'll hate it, so I don't have any interest.
Polly, have you seen it?
I have not. Sorry, I was responding to a tweet. Have I seen what?
Venom.
Oh no, actually, I haven't seen it yet, but I have. Somebody bought me a gift card to go see it, so I got to get my ass in gear and go do that.
Satsu.
You know damn well I ain't see that movie.
All right. He only watches movies that Squishy makes him.
Basically.
Scribe, do you see Rich Evans and Jack tear apart BBS for a 2-hour prereq or on prereq?
No, I didn't. I watch most of Red Letter Media stuff, but prereq is one of those that I haven't seen that many of. I like their review series. They just did the entire Psycho.
How
franchise.
cool is that, huh? Their review series is awesome.
Yeah, I really like that the way they did it. And those guys are just practically everything they touch turns into comedy gold most times, especially if Rich Evans is around laughing.
Yeah, Red Letter Media is awesome. If you guys aren't watching, check it out. It's quality.
Macaulay Culkin showed up. on their recent
Really?
episode. Yeah, their Halloween review.
Really?
And this is we see. So
I haven't
Wait-
watched it because I'm going to see it in the theater Halloween 2018, so I didn't watch their half in the bag on it.
way back when they did a review of American Ultra, which was written by Max Landis, and Max Landis went on Twitter and made some comments that they took as being very pompous and arrogant and such, to use pompous. And then Max Landis contacted them, and they had him on as a guest for a couple episodes and an interview. And then Max Landis, as a contribution to the episode of Best of the Worst he was on, sent back sort of a stinger little short film that starred Macaulay Culkin, which is a friend of his in real life. And then Macaulay Culkin has now showed up in the review for Halloween. So I assume we're going to get a Best of the Worst or some other episode soon where Macaulay Culkin is the guest star, which is going to be hilarious.
Real quick, thank you, Dark Shade. He asked, found it yet, Satsu?
I think you fucking with me, man.
Guys, my computer has frozen up on me. I can't navigate to anything, so I'm going to reboot, and I'll be, I think I'll be right back. So just give me a minute.
STA says Spunky loves CinemaSins. Yes, I do. Magog says he thought LOTN stood for Lords of the Negroes. That's just Satsu.
Tell
The rest-
Magag I said shut up.
There you go. Yeah, I'm too white for that, man. What else do we have here? Should there be a Deathstroke movie?
Yes. Great character.
That's a DC character, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't answer that question because I don't know him.
You know what I think could, if it was done well, would rock is a Moon Knight movie, but
they'd have to do it just right
because it could turn out to just be Batman in a white suit if not done well. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of risk there, but
that would piss off the hardcore fans because that was I remember when Moon Knight was really big there for a while, and their fans are like hardcore.
Yeah, man. Like, and Moon Knight's just a cool character, but like I said, you'd have to do it just right. And I don't trust Hollywood with They couldn't find their own asshole with two hands and a map. It's terrible. Ebony Williams has thoughts on anime manga. I had said this on one of the Monkey in the Morning things. I like anime, but a very limited array of it. I had thoughts about doing a series called Anime That Ain't Gay. I like samurai stuff, historical period stuff, Edo period stuff. So I'm like Rurouni Kenshin, Samurai X, Ninja Scroll, and so forth. Love it. Big fan of that kind of manga or anime.
Perennial Plant says, looks like Gab is inoperable at the moment. I can't log into my account. Well, I don't know what's going on with them. I know they're having some shit because of the shooting. And
well, people have been saying RIP Gab all day. So
let's see. Magog says, I'm both excited and scared for Netflix Witcher series. You know, you and me both, man. Video game translations should be so fucking easy. The story's fucking written for you, and they screw it up every time.
well,
Did you guys like
just
V
like
for Vendetta?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, it depends on the comic book movie and the people making it, whether or not they're passionate about the source material. You get people who are just hired to make the movie because it's a property that the studio owns or something, but they don't actually care. That's why the first Iron Man movie is so great, because everybody involved was like, we must make the best Iron Man movie ever, and they really did. V for Vendetta was I liked it a lot. I know Alan Moore was not a fan of it, but he's never a fan of anything that's not something he wrote himself. Yeah, I like V for Vendetta.
Haven't seen it. I started to watch it, and I got so bored by it, I turned it off. I don't know. With video games, I'm hoping for that, because for so long we had, if you go back and look at the original Punisher movie, that was such a shit movie. And comic book movies for so long seemed to be like that until 89 Batman. And then suddenly they just started getting better and better and better. For some reason with video games, they just suck. I can't think of one that I would say, yes, it's a good movie.
Well, I think I explained to you guys why that is. They're made that way on purpose, because there's a bunch of loopholes, which is why most of them are made overseas, because there's like tax exemptions or some shit like that or whatever, and they can make them to be very terrible, and they'll just, it's nothing but pure profit for them. So they're like, it doesn't matter if we make this movie good or not, we're gonna get paid. So
but the Warcraft movie,
Yeah.
that was made here with a very sizable budget. It should have been a major movie, and instead, even those of us who love the franchise and wanted to love this movie, it's just like, please don't do that again. I mean, they had some beautiful CGI in there. The orcs look fucking awesome, but it's very much, in my opinion, like what they tried to do with Batman versus Superman. They just tried to shove too much into it.
Why don't they just give the guys that make the cutscenes for the fucking Warcraft games $100 million and say, make a full-sized movie of that awesomeness, and just
They
stop?
should.
Like, why they keep trying to, like, let's make a live action film of a video game? No, just don't. You don't have to anymore. You can make practically a photorealistic thing and give it to the guys that actually know the material because they're building it themselves and they write it and all that fun stuff. And it'll be complete fan service, which is exactly what you want. It'll bring in new people into the fan base that weren't there before, yada, yada. But they never do that. They always like, oh, we have to make it like blue screen and try to remake like, not Captain Midnight, Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow. That really started this whole let's film a movie on a blue screen. Which is an innovation in and of itself. I mean, Sky Captains broke a lot of barriers as far as filmmaking is concerned. But like, not every fantasy movie has to be that. It could be just all animated, or you could try to do, I don't know, something where the effects are all like live and practical. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Happer mentioned the Dead Space movies, and both of those were decent. They were pretty good movies or whatever.
First one was better than the second one.
Well, absolutely, it was much better than the second one. Because it was like it directly went with the game. Like there were things in the first game that you could directly reference, and moments that there was just like, yes, I remember this. And also, all of the animated Resident Evil movies were really good too. I don't think I've seen a bad one. So the animated ones are usually the ones that seem to be pretty decent, because I loved all the Resident Evil animated ones, and the CGI ones, I should say. Those movies were fucking awesome.
Real quick, guys, I just want to remind you, after this, over on 2 Cents Plus, we will be playing Dead Island, and there's a chance to win a copy of 7 Days to Die if you come over there and watch.
Did any of you guys ever watch Starship Troopers 3?
Yep,
No.
I saw the Starship Troopers.
Like the second one was the animated one, right? The computer animated one.
No, Starship. No, all the actual Starship Troopers movies were live action. The animated series Roughnecks was a cartoon series.
I thought one of the sequels they went with like.
Oh, they made a CGI Starship Troopers movie. Yeah, but I don't know where that fits in the continuity. But like Starship Troopers 1, 2, and 3. I think 3 brought back Casper Van Dien. 3 was actually surprisingly okay.
That's what I thought about it as well. And Jolene Baylock, and like it really had some cornball moments, but considering the very limited budget they had compared to the first one, it was, I like the way you said it, surprisingly okay.
Well, it was surprisingly okay because having some of the original actors back, especially Casper Van Dien, and some of the sort of tongue-in-cheek humor that the first one had, the RoboCop-ish kind of social commentary stuff and things, that worked better than the second one, which was god fucking awful. With
the Sky Admiral selling his merchandise and shit.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was funny.
He's a singing superhero selling albums, and he's their admiral.
Update on Gab. Apparently their hosting provider pulled their service.
Oh,
ouch.
Wow.
Ouch.
Christ, over something somebody said.
Yeah, over something somebody said on their site.
This reminds me, like, this is the I know this isn't the most this is only the most recent example. This is like the Megyn Kelly syndrome. It's like anything we can construe to be the worst thing ever to absolutely remove somebody from a distribution period.
That is a good comparison. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jean-Pierre asks, why did Spock sacrifice himself in the Wrath of Khan? Because, are you serious?
Yeah.
Seriously?
To save the ship.
He explained it. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and then he died.
Or the one.
Or the one.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's like they all would have died if he hadn't have done it, and he felt that it was necessary. And Spock's got balls, so he went in there and did it. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to tell you, Jean-Pierre, but they actually tell you in the movie why he's doing it.
Like maybe
plus,
he was testing our nerdery. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Plus, he gave his memories over to Bones, so
Oh yeah,
sorry.
As they retconned, but no, wait a minute. He does.
No, it's in the movie.
Yeah,
no, it isn't in the movie, but
yeah.
I mean, they don't explain what he's doing.
Right.
It says,
They don't tell
remember, and they just leave that hanging for some plot hook later. Which because I think Nimoy wanted out at that point, and they convinced him to come back for 3. So
Disturbing Zen says bullshit. Spock would have sent in a red shirt.
It's an interesting point because they do that in one episode of TNG. The whole point is to order the person who's most. Well, wait a minute. Spock probably thought that he's the only one that could handle the radiation as a Vulcan and be able to.
Right, that was the green blood. Yeah, my Vulcan blood will give me more time to do what I need to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like you do it.
Yeah.
What do we have? There were a couple back here. Sorry, guys. You guys have been asking great questions. Monkey, is it offensive to your people that read? Oh, that Red Dead heavily features horse. Fuck you, Gregory. God damn it! I got all the way through that before I realized what you were doing to me.
I saw where that was going. The first word.
Earlier, he just saw Khan Jean-Pierre last night for the first time.
Oh, okay.
What?
Okay, fair enough. But I always get excited for people when they say that, and they're like, "I've never seen Casablanca." Oh, I envy you! Like you get to see it for the first time.
Yeah.
That's great.
Like Psycho. If you've never seen Psycho, that'd be great.
Let's see what else we have here. Have you read the book Red Shirt? I have not.
Nope.
Thoughts on the Phantasm series? I haven't seen any of them, or played any of them, or done anything with anything called Phantasm. And I'm going to guess that's the same for everyone else because nobody's talking.
No. Yeah. It's
RJ said, I played some games with the Minions last night. I enjoyed it. I sent you a DM this morning. Oh, how did I miss that? I don't have a recent DM from you.
Oh, Jack Gunsky says, I've never actually seen Psycho. We got Halloween coming up. Perfect time to watch it.
Yeah, go watch it.
Don't watch the remake. Avoid with all costs. Just watch the original. It's still great.
And for anyone who hasn't seen Halloween, 78 Halloween, perfect time to watch it for the first time. Great film.
Yep.
Slow burn tension. It's awesome.
Oh, you just saw that one, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 years ago when I was on a kick to see big films that I had never seen before, and I wanted to see the hype. Jaws, Halloween. Let me see what else. Oh, Wizard of Oz.
I fucking hate that movie.
For the most part, I got everything. I was like, I get it. Now I understand why the hype is here. I'm
rewatching Road Warrior.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
You know what I love about the Mad Max movies? And it's not even the movies themselves. That's another one of those. Me and my dad watched them together things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so even when people like rip on Thunderdome, I still fucking love it because me and him sat down. It's the same with the what was it, werewolf series back then? Fuck, I forget. But cheesy werewolf movie.
Ginger Snaps?
No.
Oh.
It had werewolf or something like that in the title.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. But those are the kind of things that I like about cheesy movies is the memories of who I watched them with rather than how good they actually are.
Yeah,
we're watch. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The Minions in our little Discord group, we get together and watch bad movies, and they're not movies we could ever watch on our own because who are you going to make snarky comments to? Suburban Sasquatch and The Last Vampire on Earth, and we get most of our ideas from Red Letter Media. Of really bad movies. Like we have to find this thing and watch it.
You're gonna watch the Neil Breen movies?
It's up next. Double Down. We're gonna watch Double Down is next.
Oh,
sorry, werewolf wasn't in the title. It was the movie The Howling.
Oh, The Howling.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The first one was good. The rest were.
We watched all 4 of them together.
I know, but still,
or at least the first 4. Yeah.
Oh.
We got 2 minutes, guys, and you guys have been saying a lot of stuff. But what I was about to say, Jack Gunsky said, I still need to watch Ben-Hur. I haven't watched either of them, but from what I've heard, it's another one of those things where watch the original.
Yes.
Oh
watch the
God,
original.
yeah. Like I didn't think you were talking about anything else. Jesus, like the Sword and
Well,
Sandal movies, 10 Commandments, and Ben-Hur. Huge fans.
I'm
Great
just saying,
films.
be careful with what you watch.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Arrowverse Flash or the Dawn of Justice Flash? Flair prefers the Arrowverse. What do you guys like? I haven't seen any of them.
Well, I mean, the Dawn of Justice Flash has been given 30 minutes of establishing time, and the Arrowverse Flash, the Arrowverse sort of collective overall. Not saying every episode or necessarily every storyline, but overall, I very much enjoy. It's actual 4-color comic book type goofiness with melodrama. It's like how you would expect a comic book to lay out. The Arrow is basically the Batman of that universe, and the Flash is the Flash for the most part. I really like the Arrowverse and how they've done that. DC knows how to do TV. They know fuck all about doing movies, and Marvel's TV stuff is spotty at best. It's scattershot, as they say.
We're going to end on this question because it kind of ties everything else back together. Can we all agree that Batman and Robin is the worst Batman movie? No, we can't. The worst Batman movie was the second one with Michael Keaton with
no, Batman.
Yes.
No.
I thought Batman and Robin was a comedy.
I think it was.
Batman
Jean-Pierre
Returns
says
was worse than what?
You must watch The Last Temptation of Christ. I have seen it more than once. I liked it because I went on a kick of I'm going to watch everything that Martin Scorsese's ever made. And I liked it. It's challenging. It's not easy material to wrap your head around. It was a tough movie.
Batman Returns sucked ass. And on that, guys, we are going to...
No, it was a...
Shh, we're done. Just let it happen, Polly. God.
That's what rapists say. That's terrible.
No, that's my motto around here. Just let it happen.
Super chat.
Hey. Where? Oh, there it is. Best guest ever, besides me, of course. You know, I love talking with Polly, and I'm so glad he joined us for tonight. Chat, thank you so much for the donations. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. You're fucking amazing. Don't forget to hit that like button because some of you haven't. I'm looking at you. We will be over on 2 Cents Plus in maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so playing Dead Island. And there's a chance to win a PC copy of 7 Days to Die. So come join us if you'd like to take a chance with that. Or if you just like watching two morons play a video game. Satsu, Scribe, a pleasure as always. Polly, thank you so much for joining us tonight and for arguing with Scribe there. And
thank you for having me on. Yeah, well, no, it's pretty easy to keep it civil with Scribe.
Oh,
it is. He's too fucking nice.
Yeah, he's not like Hillary Clinton. You know, there's no civility allowed.
And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Your lives make us sad. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night, everyone.
The secret word is that super chat was from Chaos Eve because Monkey didn't say so.
Oh, fuck. I forgot to say, Chaos, I'm so sorry. I love you.
Nah, it's
Thank
too late,
you.
bitch. It's over
Thank
with.
you, Chaos.